Hello everybody and welcome to Letterboxd Book Club. My name is Claire.
And I'm Mackenzie.
And today, this is my TED Talk.
We have a very special episode.
Only special in the sense that one of us has read this and the other one hasn't.
Yeah, because I didn't want to.
That's fine, and that's your right.
That is my right, yeah.
Yeah. So today, I will be giving Kenzie a TED Talk on the book Powerful by Lauren Roberts, book 1.5 in the Powerless trilogy series. Is it a series now, or is it?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a trilogy.
I mean, yeah, it's a trilogy, but like
this doesn't count as book 2. This is a 1.5.
A series in my eyes, because now I suppose it's optional to read this.
Yeah,
also
because it's happening at the same time.
Yeah. Also, I sound a little bit sick. Whatever. I'm sure.
Whatever. She is sick.
Bit congested. I'll just grab the blurb. So there's going to be a whole lot of me talking, so if you don't like that, then piss off. I don't know.
I was going to say, it's like
I don't even have
my
stars.
Credence episode, but we haven't released the Credence episode yet,
No.
so that's coming up.
Yeah.
Also, I should mention, I don't know when this is coming out, but
I don't know either.
Anyway, we just throwing in little bonus episodes because we have found ourselves in the very, very fortunate position to have been sent arcs from Australian publishers, and while we're working our way through that, we just need to take some breaks sometimes. So it won't be a break from the podcast, it's just a break in our real life of our recording schedule. But yeah.
Yeah, it's become really tricky because like we're so organized and everything, and then chuck an arc that's you got to record and release before the book release. It's like it's messing up the schedule, but oh well. Also, we're just having some jaffles, so
yeah,
it's nice.
True Aussie culinary. I was listening to a book the other day, and they said culinary.
Nice.
And I was like,
what is a culinary?
It's culinary.
Oh, culinary. Oh.
And now it doesn't sound like a real word anymore. When you say a word too many times.
Yeah. Alrighty, here's the Goodreads description. It's like the New York Times bestseller. Actually, no, yeah, I'll read that as well.
Why? Also, no, I have a qualm immediately.
Okay.
Why is every book always a New York Times bestseller? Like, they can't all be that great.
It's easy. They just buy 100,000 odd units, and then you just make the list, and then who cares? All right, set during the time of the New York Times bestseller Powerless, fan favorite Adena gets a story all her own as she attempts to survive on the streets of Loot and falls for a mysterious and dangerous elite. Adena and Paedyn have always been inseparable. Fate brought them together when they were young, but friendship ensured they would always protect each other and the home they built in the slums of Loot. But now, Paedyn, an ordinary, has been selected for the Purging Trials, which means almost certain death. Now alone in Loot, Adena must fend for herself. After attempting to steal, she's rescued by a mysterious man from the market. Mac's shadowy past and secretive power sets him apart from the other low-level elites of Loot. And as the pair team up to see their loved ones before the trials, the quest tests their loyalty, their love, and their lives. I'm very, unprepared.
That's all I need to know.
That's all you need to know.
I'm done.
Yeah, so how about... So why didn't you read? Just not interested in this one? You just weren't too keen?
Yeah. I just wasn't interested in it. In that, I just wanted to focus on Paedyn's story. Mm-hmm. And also, I know she dies.
Yeah, we know where it ends up.
Yeah, and it's not... because it's happening at the same time as Powerless, we're seeing, some of the events anyway. And I know I said this to you the other day, but I'll say it for everyone else. It's not like they both die at the end, because through that, you don't know that they're both going to die at the end, and then they both die, and it's traumatizing and heartbreaking and awful. Yeah. But at this one, it's like, well, I know she dies, so what's the point of this story?
Yep, cool. All right, we begin with a little prologue. It's set 5 years ago. So what, they're 18, 19. Mm-hmm. So what's 5 years from that? 13, yeah. All right. I don't know. I'm in a sickly haze. Leave me alone. It was more, and that was more of a rhetorical question.
Oh.
So anyway, so we meet Adena.
I also forgot what her name was.
That's how much you care about her.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Adena, she attempts to steal, and Imperials are chasing her, and this is when she meets Paedyn for the first time. Okay. Paedyn helps her. But, funnily enough, do you remember if Adena has any powers?
I don't think it was ever mentioned. Oh, wait, yes. Yes?
Did she? I don't know. In Powerless, I don't remember.
I thought she had powers. She could sew really well. I thought that was a power.
That's a secret power.
Yeah.
No, but apparently she can actually phase. She has like a legit elite-esque power. But I don't remember if that was ever mentioned in Powerless. Well, it doesn't really matter because...
What do you mean she can phase?
Phase through walls and people.
She's a ghost.
She's a ghost, yeah, ghostly ghost. And even Paedyn in this makes a little comment like I know that you can phase, whatever. But I feel like this is not brought up in Powerless. So
Do you reckon Powerless was written and then we're like, oh, let's add a little bit of the... Or this was all in one book and then they're like, you need to split it up. Them as the almighty editors.
I just think there must have been some sort of fan campaign, or there's this assumption that Adena is going to be popular, and she's like, you know what, let's give her a story.
Because also, you've said this as well, Powerless came out, and then Powerful, I feel like, came out kind of around the same time, but because Powerless is like the dark cover and then Powerful is the white cover, I just thought it was a different cover because I didn't really read the word. I was just like, oh, it's like a special edition.
Yeah, that's I initially thought it was a special edition.
I feel like there wasn't a lot of advertising for it.
No, like I just saw the power. My fault for not finishing reading the word, but I saw power, and then it was like, all right, it must be special edition, or maybe with a extra content or something. And then you corrected me. You're like, no, this is a new book. Then we kind of come back to the present, which wasn't really made clear because it's now Mac's point of view, because it's Tilpov, Mac, and Adena. Actually, his name is Makoto or something.
Ooh.
But yeah, that wasn't made clear, and we see him. It's pickup day for the Purging Trial contestants. So yeah, Paedyn is getting into the carriage, but Mac is chasing after Hera because he is related to her.
Who's Hera?
Hera was that... She was in the first book. Okay. It's fine. You really do not care about this.
No, I care about your TED Talk, and I'm interested to see what you thought of it. But...
Okay. Yeah. I didn't even do thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Shit. It's just a book.
Yeah.
It's just a book. It's fine.
I just have thoughts of the series overall.
That's not even completed.
Yeah, in this current climate.
Funny how you say that when there's a new Hunger Games that's been announced.
I wasn't going to say it.
It's so funny. Mac's point of view, he's trying to run to Hera, and because he has something, he has to give her whatever, blah, blah, blah. Then he notices Adena, and like she's recognized by some as the street seamstress, of loot, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And he recognizes Paedyn as the Silver Savior because of how she saved Kai back then. And so he realizes that, Adena might have an in to the castle at some point. And so, because he really wants Hera to have a message.
Okay. I have a question.
Okay.
And you might answer it.
Okay.
And I'm just skipping ahead, but anyway.
That's okay.
Eve, what's her name? Adena.
Adena.
If Adena is a phaser, I feel like the king really wasted his energy killing her when he could have made her like a spy.
I don't think he recognized her abilities, I think. And his intention is not about Adena. What he did to Adena was really to punish Paedyn.
Yeah.
So he really didn't, I don't think there was no inclination at all that he was aware of her power. Because she has kept it pretty secret. So Mac and Adena are set to work together. Adena being the wonder seamstress. Mac asks her to make him like a guard, like an imperial outfit so he can sneak into the castle. And he really wants Adena to help him because, lo and behold, he is actually a wielder and he wants her phasing magic. So he wants them to stick together for his gain. And being a wielder is obviously highly illegal. It's almost like a fate situation. Only one person can be a wielder, and unfortunately that is Kai. So he's in that moment, just needing Adena for that. Actually, how they met again was when Adena tried to steal again, and she was being chased by Imperials, but because Paedyn's not there to save her,
she's really
Mac,
good at stealing.
Yeah, she's really and that's when Mac saves her, and then uses her power to phase away, and so she thinks he's a phaser, but he's a wielder. That all comes out in the end. Anyway, they work together, buying materials and all that nonsense, living life in the loot. They have an agreement, and
so he's doing all this just to get a message to Hera.
Yeah.
Do we find out what the message is?
Oh, sorry, this is my bad. Not necessarily a message, but he wants to sacrifice himself for her because he knows that that eye roll, because he knows the Purging Trials mean death, and it comes out later, but they're cousins. And they have a very kind of, like, I want to say deep relationship, but that's not incestuous in any way. No, they're not fucking Kenzie, sorry. They're not.
I have to poop.
What I was going to say before is, even though the timeline is in line with the first book and the whole trials and everything, it still seemed kind of funky, because, like, next minute, the plan was to be completed by, like, maybe, like, 5 days, but then that doesn't really occur. Or maybe I just read that wrong, but there's, like, a sense of urgency, but then they don't really get into the castle until, like, after the first trial anyway. And so, and yeah, Hera is a Veil. I forget what the Veils do in terms of power, but she was one of those.
You know, invisible?
I'm not sure. I don't remember. But that does seem kind of familiar. I don't know. But alright, I'll give you the rundown on Mac and his backstory, because he is that, you know, mysterious, self-loathing, like, I've already decided I'm gonna die. You know, he's a bit of a Debbie Downer, you know? So his parents weren't really enthusiastic about being parents. So he had a bit of he had a bit of a rough life. And he wasn't really showing his powers until he was like 3 years old. And then they realized that he's a wielder and he's dangerous. So his parents, despite not being enthusiastic about being parents, they kind of hid him, because, again, like, his powers just means death. And so it just got to a point of family stress and frustration where his father was... Sorry, Penelope's talking. His father became, like, abusive and kind of cut his like, face and across his lips. He has, like, a scar across his lips, and, like, that's a whole thing, because he doesn't smile, and, like, Adena is banking on him smiling at her and all that stuff. It's, like, part of their cute little relationship dynamic. And so, because his father became abusive, he ran away with Hera. Hera came to live with them when she was young as well. And so, yeah, pretty much, yeah, Mac has just made his mind up. His plan is to go to Hera and just explain that he's going to, like, sacrifice his life so she could survive, because he has this idea that she's just going to die in the Purging Trials, which is right, but at the time we didn't know that. But because the Purging Trials, the point is not to kill. You don't have to die. If a fatality occurs, then, I mean, that's on you. That's a skill issue. But so yeah, he wanted that was his plan. And so when he met Adena and when they started working together, he was really not trying to, you know,
fall in love. That
too, and just, like, allow himself to get to know Adena, or have Adena get to know him. Yeah, he's just all broody, and, like, if someone is not, you know, reciprocating that sort of, like, level of friendship, like, surely you just kind of give up. Yeah. But also with Adena, like, she is that, what is it, manic pixie dream girl. She is that in this situation, not only for Paedyn, but for Mac. Yeah. And so, yeah, their relationship just develops. I think after, like, 5 days, Adena has a bit of a run-in with some gross guys, and so she runs back to Mac, and she's, like, crying and upset, which is fair enough, given the climate that's happening right now in regards to women being harassed. Mm-hmm. But then here's, like, my thing. Mac's like, you know, always run to me, that sort of sweet safety protector, but it's like, I've only known her for 2 days. So, I didn't feel like their love was really believable, but...
I feel like that always happens in these, like, romantic books that we read. It's so cute, and they're in love, and it's great, and then you find out it's been 2 weeks, and you're like, oh.
Yeah. But also, it'd be hypocritical to say that, because Paedyn is pulling Kit and Kai on a little love string for 2 weeks. And then, of course, yeah, just throughout natural conversations, Adena is just constantly talking about Paedyn. It's almost... What's the... Oh...
Overbearing?
No. What's the talking about men? No, it's the thing... Oh, I've forgotten what it's called. No. You can't have a conversation without bringing up a man. What's that?
The Bechdel test?
Bechdel test, yeah. We need a Paedyn Bechdel test, because Adena is always talking about Paedyn, and I feel like I didn't learn too much about Adena. And Mac is also a blacksmith, so he's making daggers and all these fancy weapons and stuff. See, I thought he was going to be part of the resistance. You know, you've got that in. You've got somebody who can make shit.
Somebody can make shit.
And then after, Adena has that bad interaction with a group of men who harass her and pretty much follow her. Mac beats them up, of course, and Adena doesn't realize that. And due to that incident, Mac teaches Adena how to fight, because, of course, that always has to happen in these types of books. there's some training and fighting little montages. He's teaching her how to punch, and then in turn later on, Adena teaches Mac how to sew, which is really cute. And so yeah, they have that plan to get into the castle and phase around together. So Adena has a run-in with one of the men again, and Mac is there because he's a hero, and so she actually punches him in the face. Like, that's just a fun thing to reflect that her training is coming into use, but of course she doesn't fight really ever again. And then, of course, following along the trials timeline, Adena gets picked up to go be Paedyn's personal seamstress. Mac is very upset and angry because he needs her power, but he hasn't really told her about that yet. And he's very, like, irrationally, angry about that. And in this sort of, like, big abrupt moment, like, he reveals that he's a wielder and he needs to, like, get her and run away and all that shit. And it's like almost like a breakup-esque situation.
Third act breakup.
Almost, yeah. But it's like, again, it's only been less than a week, and it's like Adena says the whole like "you had me" situation, like you could trust me with this knowledge and all that stuff. Yeah, very third act breakup. But it's like you're just there to do a job, you know. Max starts, realizing that like all the sappy stuff that he hasn't felt happiness since meeting Adena, all that. It's just like, I don't believe
he hasn't felt happiness in 5 days.
Exactly. Yeah, or like a week or whatever. Yeah, and he's like really going back on his initial plan because like he can't do it now because he feels like he has Adena and like that sort of relationship. I'm probably explaining it really poorly, but
I understand.
But Kenzie's way better at recapping and storytelling than I am. Okay. But it doesn't matter.
What happens? How does it end?
Oh, it ends. First they have a bit more relationship developing because
it's smutty.
No, it's not because it's very like YA. They do make out at some point.
Yeah.
So yeah, after I suppose the first trial, because Hera dies in the first trial, Mac is very upset, of course, and so oftentimes Adena would sneak out of the castle and go see him, and they'd hang out, and they spent some time at the fort because Adena really wanted him to be there, to like because she's sharing this space with him, etc. He thinks it's a shithole, which is fair enough. Yeah, and this is where we kind of get to know Mac a bit more. He kind of has shares his backstory a little bit when they're in the fort. Like, it's the vulnerable space, throughout, Adena is making Mac some gifts. Like, he makes a vest she makes him a vest that's similar to similar to Paedyn's, and makes him a weapons belt, which is really cool because he's
bandolier.
Yeah. Oh, is that what they're called? Oh, aren't you a smarty pants?
I only know that because of Akatar.
Ah. But it's just described as a weapons belt. Unfortunately, it's just a weapons belt. Just for all his daggers and everything, which is cute. And they have this sort of thing where they just look up at the stars, and like looking at the stars is becoming their thing, and like all right. But they make promises to each other that they're going to be bright stars together when they inevitably die. That's sort of cute thing.
Stars.
Yeah. Oh no! Another copyright lawsuit. Lauren Roberts, what are you doing? No, they have that thing. Yeah, like if they ever die, they're going to be bright stars together, etc., etc. Which is really cute. Adena, while she's in the castle, she has a couple of run-ins with Kit, Kai, and the King. Kit and Kai separate. Yeah. No. Conspiracy. But that's all to talk about Paedyn. Like, there's really no interest in Adena herself as a side character. It's everything in regards to her she's just an extension of Paedyn, really. So yeah, the King has a chat with her, and she introduces herself to him, and it's very Sinner Hunger Games style, like truly, like because Paedyn, as we know, is making statements, not following the rules, not wearing green to all the balls and everything, and who is in control of her dresses, her seamstress. So he's got a very negative attitude kind of towards her, but we know like how it ends. Yeah, he's not pleased with Adena in a way. And then later on, I think Mac and Adena had a plan to kind of meet up back at the fort. She doesn't show up, and this is en route to the third and final trial. And so Adena had been put into the dungeons. Her fingers are all like mangled and broken and all that shit, which is, I kind of like that it's like the individualized sort of punishment. I feel like it would have made sense if she was just maybe physically like disabled from her hands, you know? Like, that way it could be, like, a huge message to Paedyn to, like, stay alive. But I suppose the Purging Trials are almost over, and she was going to become an elite or an Imperial anyway. I don't know. And so, yeah, Adena is not really understanding why. And it's not really made clear as to, like, why, but again, it's very Sinner Hunger Games. Like, you've been making these statements through Paedyn. Like, you must be.
And really, yeah, it's not about you. It's about the tribute.
Yeah.
If you will.
Yeah, so, yeah, that's heavily implied. And then, yeah, the final trial happens. Mac is getting a bit worried because he hasn't seen Adena for a little while. Goes to the final trial, and he's trying to sense her power. Doesn't really sense for a little while, and then, the maze, the third trial, and then lo and behold, the prisoner is there, and he recognizes Adena. Can't really do much. Yeah, and she dies, as we are well aware. And then she has, like, a final moment in her where she's like, she can feel, death coming. That sort of very profound sort of thing. And then the last chapter is Mac, really, and he's just, like, looking up at the sky, and, like, there's a bright star there, that sort of cute thing. But, yeah, I don't know, I didn't really believe in the romance.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it just ends there with Mac, but we all know that the Resistance have their hoo-ha.
I wonder if Mac will come in. I wonder if Mac will come into the
sequel. He might have to, because he's another wielder. Sorry?
He might join the Resistance.
He might, yep. And... yeah, then
really, he's the only one that can effectively fight Kai.
Yeah. I felt like I didn't really believe the romance, like, because it was really meant to be the romantic-y aspect to it, and I wouldn't have argued that Adena was a fan favorite, to be fair. But she's just a manic pixie dream girl for Mac,
and she was very much a side character. Like, it wasn't, like a side character like Kieran in From Blood and Ash, where the story is really important and he's around all the time. Yeah.
It's just convenient that, they've grown up together, then Paedyn gets forced away through the trials, and then Adena is left to fend for herself.
So seeing as you skipped it at the start, what are your overall thoughts, feelings, and emotions?
It's a book. It's a 1.5. It's a novella, whatever, Because I feel like we didn't know that she was a phaser in the first book.
We didn't.
And so, like, why have this new information if, one, it's not going to save her life, or she's really going to use it at all? And, I don't know, just having another wielder, I suppose, to balance it out against Kai. Because, again, Paedyn isn't ordinary. She can't fucking defeat a wielder if they have a one-on-one, and we know that Kai is going to be after her. So, I don't know. Mac will definitely... he'll probably seek out Paedyn, which is what's going to happen. Adena never told Paedyn about them. Also, there was just
like, if this is your best friend and you've been, like, together, quote unquote, for 5 years, you think that at some point she mentioned, there's this really cute guy.
And I think, like, Mac was Adena's, like, first love, and I think same with Mac, like, she expressed just before they kissed for the first time, it's like, she's never met a guy that's, like, liked her back sort of situation. So it was very first love, bright, starry-eyed sort of thing. Mac is well aware of who Paedyn is, and definitely I think within the next book or trilogy at some point they're going to cross paths and they're going to have that mutual mutual dead friend of Adena.
So. Do you have stars for this book?
I completely forgot about stars, but I will try and find some. And also Adena talks to, like, Ellie, which was Paedyn's maid or like throughout. I thought Ellie was going to be, like, the reason why she was put in the dungeons, but apparently not. I thought it was going to be Sassy Wassy. Alright, this is a big 1 star, and I really did not take that long to find it. It's actually 1.5, sorry. The first sentence is, literally, why does this exist? Okay, I know I was one of the people who kept saying, oh my god, we need a book for Adena, but I take that back. Now this book was horrible. The beginning made 0 sense. I had no idea what was happening until the last 10 pages. I thought she ran into a girl in the first chapter and was staying with her, but no, it was a dude and they didn't live together. I don't understand. The only reason I'm giving this book a 1.5 stars is because the ending is tolerable. Had the book had any emotional impact, it would have been so much better. I didn't care about Adena and don't care about Adena. Oh, I didn't care about Adena. I don't care about Adena. Why should I care when she dies? Ooh. Actually, I'm going to read another 1 star. I get that this is a novella, but it felt super rushed. I didn't connect with Adena as much as I did in Powerless. The romance between her and Mac was not it. and also the plot was non-existent. They were on a mission, but then she went to the castle and bailed and convinced Mac to not go through with it. Hera died and he mourned but accepted it. He also watched Adena die in front of him. Flips page. He's over it. Ugh, felt like a fanfic. Those were the 1 stars. But yeah, it really did feel like there was no emotional connection. It was just there to have, for Adena to have that tragic sort of backstory. All right, utterly powerful, crying emoji. God, I love Adena so much. Her story is beautiful. As this book is a novella, everything happens a lot quicker in this with less build-up, but I absolutely adored this book. I can't wait for Reckless because I'm not ready to leave these characters behind just yet. I mean, Adena's left behind because she's dead, but yeah.
She's dead.
Yeah. That's the book. Any questions, queries, concerns? That's it. Yeah, it's a novella. It's what you'd expect.
What I'm looking for, it just did it. What I'm looking for in a novella is more padding to the story. I want more added to the story that I don't. It's like From Blood and Ash, and then the second series. But I guess this is a novella, so I don't know.
It really.
No, but then I think about Frost and Starlight, and that adds to the story. So, and you need to read that to continue on. Yeah, so it could have been better.
Again, learning a new thing with Adena and having a power and not realizing it, and that could have been useful maybe in the first book. But I suppose, yeah, Lauren probably just written herself in that pigeonhole where, sure, Adena and Paedyn have been friends for so long, and Adena is considered a side character, but she really had no influence on the book at all. And yeah, there was no extra bits of information. Again, only her death is driving Mac forward and will be driving Paedyn forward in the future. Despite Paedyn already killing the king, like, I don't think there's anything else she could really use Adena's death for. Like, she can't use it against Kit, or she can't use Adena's death against Kai, because they're not truly aware of their relationship. And yeah, and so yeah, I'm just curious as to how Mac is going to be introduced. He's definitely going to seek her out though. But yeah, cool. There we go. Cool. That's it. Thanks for sticking around. Like, I'm so curious as to how the second book will go, because like, again, as I said in the episode in Powerless, like, we have that romantic build-up between Paedyn and Kai, and they're both killed each other's fathers. Like, how do you come back from that?
Yeah.
And it'd be interesting to see how Kai hunts her down, because he can't really sense her power because her power doesn't exist because she's a fucking bullshit artist.
Yeah. I'm interested to see though, like, if she does have a power and like it's gonna take a catalyst for it to come out or something.
Yeah, I don't know. Or maybe she might. Oh no, she probably couldn't pretend to use Mac's powers or anything, but pretend to have his powers. Yeah, and like, there wasn't really a lot of Adena surviving loot either. Yeah. Like, it's just her and Mac working together. Anyway, yep, that's it. All right, check us out on the Insta.
letterboxbookclub. From there, our link tree is in the bio where you can find us in all the places.
Yep, see you then. I don't know when this is released, but whatever day it is, it will be. All right, whatever. Thanks for listening. Bye.